able to hop in. We are live right now. So, good evening to everyone. Thank you again for joining. For those who don't know me, my name is Elise. I'm the founder here at the French Tutor, and it's always my pleasure. It is always my joy to chat with parents of French learners and have a discussion, share insights, and really just take a little bit of pressure off of you if you're feeling any, and really equip you to provide your children the best French immersion experience possible. So, school just started. I know that school just started, okay? And I'm sharing this as well with my IG audience. Hi, guys, if you're joining. And the whole point of us having this conversation today is to make sure that your kids have a solid start for the school year. So we are calling this conversation the September Advantage, okay? And I want to make sure that you guys, if you need to take some notes, you are welcome to do so. But just know that we are encouraging a dialogue, okay? So if you have questions along the way, just make sure that you are getting those in and we're going to get started, okay? So Erica, you're able to hear now? The audio is good. Fantastic. Okay, so let's jump right in, guys. So the September Advantage. Now, like I said, my whole job for today is to make sure that you, as a parent who has a child in a French program, that your kids are coming out ahead of the game. Okay. There's a reason why certain students start a school year strong, and a lot of it has to do with certain things that are happening at home. Now, I always say to my parents, it is not your job to know French or speak French. That's not your job. You don't have to learn French. You don't have to speak French. That's actually the beauty of the French immersion program. But there are strategies that you can be doing at home that's actually going to propel your child to have success all school year long. So that is what we're going to hop in today. How many of you guys are looking for a successful school year for your child? Is that something anyone on this call is wanting? Yeah, I'm sure all of you. Great. So let's talk about it. So September, I always say, is such a crucial time because it's that reset. Okay, I know we say Happy New Year on January 1st, but September, in essence, is a new year. It's a new year. It's the rebirth, right? Of a new transition, a new grade, a new season is coming soon, right? So here is where we always say it is your sweet spot to set the tone for success. So as parents of French learners, you know that it's also a critical time because how your child feels about how they start the school year, especially it's a new grade, there's going to be a new French challenge that's coming their way. Doing certain things now is actually not just going to be for the now, it's going to prep them for the rest of the school year. So, what I'm going to share with you today is what I would consider the Head Start moves for those in French immersion or French first language schools that's going to really lead to more confidence and have you see a better June of next year, right? If certain things start right now. So, I'm going to hop right in. And thank you for those who just joined. Okay, we're just getting started. So you're in the right spot. Okay, fantastic. So the first thing, first and foremost, okay, it's not in any order of priority, but guys, it is so important that you are making French a part of the routine at home and doing that early. So we are still in the first few weeks of school right now for many of us. Okay. And there's a new schedule, there's new teachers, there's new routines. But what is so important to do right now, okay, we can even start it tomorrow, this evening, if possible, is making sure that you are being intentional about some French taking place at home. Now, the key is not about perfection, the key is consistency. So, what can you actually do? Because I'm very much into the practical, I'm very much into the implementation, okay, of at home work with parents. So, firstly, I want you guys to set up French time at home. Now, French time, it's going to be dependent on what grade your child is in terms of what activities you're implementing, but let me share a few ideas. So, I want you guys to do starting today if possible, or if not tomorrow. Dedicate 20 to 30 minutes each day to French practice. 20 to 30 minutes. And guess what? Some of that may even already be if your child gets a certain amount of homework, right? Making sure it's getting done and that there is that focus time for French specific work. Okay. Now, this could be something like reading a book together, watching a short French video. And guys, when I say reading a book, I mean have your child read to you. Like I said, you are not required to know the French language, but the act of them reading to you, even if you're not all the way clear on what the story is about, that's the dedication, that consistency will lead to comprehension, right? Eventually. But the point is to now make it, build it into the routine, okay? And I'll also throw in there playing an interactive language game. So we're in the age of technology, all right? There are tons of different apps. I'm sure some of your children may even introduce you and sometimes me to a few of them. So just making that French time consistent. And if you can actually put it as a reminder in your phone, ask Google, ask Alexa to remind you on a daily basis, 20 to 30 minutes French time. All right. Now, another way to integrate it into at home activities is not overthinking it, right? We want to make sure that it can exist in the way we already operate. So, when tasks like cooking, organizing their room, okay, or during family outings, even small interactions about the little things very often, like saying je t'aime, which means I love you, saying merci, which means thank you, right? So even if before they go to bed, there is a routine. There's maybe I love you in the morning before school. Maybe try switching those up or even saying good night, bonsoir, right? Learning, asking them, say, how do you say I love you? How do you say good night? How do you say good morning? Okay. And then you as well, you guys can now start having that mini dialogue that's helping normalize French in the everyday life. Okay. Are we all grasping that? Is this something we can put into play? Fantastic. So one example, okay, that I'm going to share because I want to be really explicit with how to do it, okay? Perhaps you can start a tradition of reading a French bedtime story every night, okay? Now, that doesn't have to be, like I said, you being the one who's the reader. Let your child read to you, but always give them an extra step. Give them a little bit of a discussion opportunity where maybe now it's about what is the plot? What is the plot? Like, what is the story all about? Because you don't just want your child to be doing a practice, a habit for the sake of. You want to have intention behind it, and you also want to have retention. Okay, so you're also in a way becoming an instructor or facilitator, right? When you are asking them now the questions about what story happened. So this is about enhancing the habit, the consistency. It builds the comprehension, but it also fosters a more positive and relaxed attitude towards the language. Okay. And it's really important for me just to share that, research really shows that memory retention, which is so key in French because it's all in vain if you don't remember anything. Okay. So memory retention really got us to think about the idea of the forgetting curve. Okay. And this is a human thing, not a child thing. This is a human thing. It actually shows that we forget information rapidly if we don't review it regularly. And I'll attest to that. Okay. So if we're integrating French daily into chunks, right? And it's bite-sized pieces, like I said, 20 to 30 minutes, right? If we're doing that, you're actively fighting against that curve. And that's helping your child keep the language fresh in their mind. And that's what we want. We want that regular space, daily routine early. Start it early. And you will absolutely watch your child's confidence skyrocket. Okay. And that is important from even now. Okay. So making sure you guys are putting that daily routine. I hope as I speak, maybe you're putting it in your phone. Maybe you're putting it in your calendar. I'm a calendar girl, right? If it's not on the calendar, doesn't happen. So let's get that in the calendar, the daily routine. Okay. So we're just going to go through three today, and this is the second one. So the second one is focus on building vocabulary and speaking confidence. So let's say, guys, if I speak to on average 100 to 150 parents per month, like having actual conversations, probably top three of the areas that they share or their kids have shared with them or teachers have given them feedback that their children want to get better at or they need a deeper dive. It comes down very often to the building of vocabulary and the speaking confidence. I actually just spoke to a student this past evening with their mom. She's in grade 9, and she was able to communicate with me. She said, I would love to not feel like I'm frozen when I have to present something, like I don't have the words I want to say when I want to stand up in front of the class. Like it was a little bit of an insecurity for her. And where we're looking is to have your kids
Need the
not not give that
am I
not
listening up?
a highlight, but rather we want them to know it's an area they want to improve and actively have a strategy on how to combat it. So I'm going to share that with you guys. So for many students, vocab is it's everything. Okay, it's a foundation, and I am huge on foundations. And speaking confidence can also be a major hurdle, right? Because you need the vocab, you need the words to actually communicate, to speak. So the sooner that your child can start practicing French in a low pressure environment, the more fluent and self-assured they're going to become over the year. So one thing I know to be true is that public speaking is it's a challenge for a lot of people, okay? And reading out loud and speaking in front of people, it's equal, okay? A lot of children, they may read very well with you at home, right? You might say, "Oh my goodness, they read so well with me." But when you get to a classroom, now they're frozen. Okay? Now they don't have the right words to say. That's because the environment may seem a lot higher pressure and they aren't getting those reps in order to perform on the spot, in order to manage the spontaneity of the language dialogue, okay, of the language exchanges. So here's what you can do. I want you guys to implement these strategies and see how they work for you. So the first one being, I want you to create a word of the day challenge. Okay. So each day, and I'll even give you guys a little wiggle room, maybe each week, okay, I want you to introduce a new French word. Now, we can, maybe they have a dictée at school. Maybe your children get a dictée as a spelling test. Maybe you pull a word from there and you guys focus on that word together. Maybe you are, I don't know, maybe they're in a certain activity outside of school and there's a word associated with it that you want them to learn in French. Look that up, right? And have your word of the week or your word of the day. Now, throughout the day, it's going to be important that the context, right, and the use of the word is reinforced. If you're seeing your child before school, what's our word of the day? Okay, how do you spell it? All right, what does it mean? Maybe throw it in a sentence. And you're going to want to get creative with this. And it's in essence, like you're kind of learning a little bit of French too. Okay, let them help you on the pronunciation though. But this is a way for you to get that word of the day in, okay? And then I also want you to do, and this is where your parenting and maybe the creativity is going to come into play. I want you to, even as you get more comfortable with this, practice everyday conversations in French. Like have them be your spokesperson. So one fun one that I like is always to pretend that they're ordering food at a restaurant. So let's say you are going through the drive-through, okay? Now, it'd be kind of fun if maybe we could do this live, but maybe we won't. Maybe you'll ask them, "Oh, we just ordered some French fries and a hamburger and whatever. If we were speaking French, how would we order that in French?" Right? Just giving them it's a casual, low pressure environment, right? Maybe asking directions. Okay? Say, "Okay, when you go to school, which way do we turn? Try to give me directions for how you drive to school or walk to school." Okay, it's the everyday speak that really makes the fluency build. It really makes the fluency be something that is natural, it's second nature, okay? And introducing themselves. So we know this is something where that should be second nature. Very often our students freeze on the introduction of self, and that once again is coming from the vocab not quite being as strong and as solid as it could be. Okay. So these they're just practical exercises, guys, but I believe in practicality, but we have to implement the practical. Okay. It's not meant to be hard, but it is meant to be implemented and we have to try. Okay, at home, you got to be trying. Okay. Now, an example, which is a fun one. So at dinner, challenge your child to either order their meal if you're out somewhere or explain to you, maybe if you're having a family dinner, what are we eating tonight? Okay, if we have some rice or some pasta, we have maybe some vegetables, right? So have them identify what these items are on a plate for a meal. That is a way of exercising vocabulary. You're exercising their brain. They're doing something interactive, but simultaneously it's strengthening their speaking ability. Okay, and it's the comfort of that is what we're looking for. Great. So, in terms of research around this, guys, because I also want to give you just background in terms of where these strategies are rooted in, okay, and where the proof in the pudding, if you will, comes from, right? So, when research was done on memory and language, okay, it shows that actively using new vocab in speaking or writing, it leads to stronger long-term retention. That's why I always tell my students, write it down. And I'm old school. Like, yeah, I love my device. Like, my device is my notes, but I'm also a hard copy. Like, you'll see, like, I'm a note taker because there's something about writing something down on paper or writing it down and it sticking a little differently. Okay. It leads to stronger long-term retention. And that is where, as French immersion students, because it isn't second nature just yet, that long term retention and our approach to how best we do that is more important than ever. Okay. And I want you to also, if you have not already, start encouraging your child to speak up in class. Okay. In class. One thing, and I'll say it right off the top from now, do not wait until the first report card to have an idea of what's going on at school. Okay? School is it's your it is your right as parents, okay, to know what's happening. What are they learning? How is my child doing? What are some challenges they're seeing they're having? What are they really good at? Okay. Too often we're seeing a report card and it's literally a surprise, and it shouldn't be. Okay. So if you haven't already, just taken the time to chit chat with the teacher, or if you have a messaging doc you use with them, just feel free to send a note and say, I want to know how best I can support my child this school year. We find the more parents that speak up, the better their children do. Okay? Because we gotta speak up and advocate for our kids. All right. Now, when we focus on the vocab building and the speaking confidence, you're actually going to realize that it positively affects how they participate in class in school. Okay. The truth of the matter is, guys, that at school, you're not with your children, right? You're not with them when Madame or Monsieur calls their name and and they're put on the spot. You're not with them when they go, okay, well, it's your time to read or it's your time to share a response. So, our job, right, at home, in the home, what's going to have to be happening is preparing them for those moments. So, the more they speak, okay, the faster they'll actually overcome the fear of making mistakes or I don't know if I'm right, I don't know what's going on. And then this practice is what's going to lead to better fluency and overall academic success. All right. So the last one in terms of the third strategy that we are focusing on and taking away to get ahead of the curve this September is monitor progress and celebrate wins along the way. So how many of you have ever done anything like a reward system. Let me know. Drop a one in the chat if you've had a reward system for your children at home, be it academic or maybe it was just something a little different, like doing chores or finishing something, a completion, any reward chart, reward oriented parents. Drop a one in the chat if that's you. All right. So monitoring progress and celebrating wins along the way, very good. Uh, it matters. Why does it matter? Well, children, okay, especially language learners, they need to see progress to stay motivated. How many times are your children ready to give up and there has to be a little pep talk that happens? Okay, be it French, be it something else. Okay, they need to be and stay motivated. And I'm huge on that because when we're celebrating our kids' small achievements and celebrating milestones, this actually helps them feel a sense of accomplishment and it keeps them engaged throughout the school year. So, yeah, maybe you couldn't read the full book on the first attempt. Maybe you couldn't read the full book, and that's okay. But perhaps you were able to read one page without stopping. Okay. Maybe you were able to read 2 pages the next day without stopping, right? We're celebrating, we're really cheering our children on in this French journey. It is so huge. So here's what I want you to do to actually implement that. So I want you to, and this is September, guys. Okay. These aren't future planning things, these are right now things. So I want you guys to set measurable, achievable goals for your child's French learning. For example, we got to be specific in our goals, such as learning 50 new words by the end of the month if your child is in a certain grade level. Okay. If they're not, perhaps we lower this number. Okay. But 50 new words by the end of the month or reading a short French book independently. That could be a goal. It's a very specific goal. Or okay, you can even be using visual charts to track their progress. All right. Now, there is something about celebrating victories and small wins, and whether it's mastering a tricky grammar concept. So, a lot of our older ones, grade 3 and up, grammar becomes an all the time thing. Okay. Whether it's scoring well on a French quiz, speaking up in class, if you check in with the teacher at the end of the week and say, hey, how did my child do in school this week? Were they participating? Hearing that feedback, wow, that is an achievement, guys. Okay. Always acknowledging their effort. And what we find is that the more we're celebrating the small wins of our French students, once again, the higher their confidence is being built, the more they're showing that in school. Okay. So that is exactly what we want for them. And this is a very key strategy in doing so. So when it comes to, and this is just an example, guys, because I always want to make sure that you have, okay, what exactly could I be doing? So there are times where we encourage a French achievement board. Okay. So something they can help you make, getting just Bristol board or even just like some kind of chart paper. And when there's a victory that happens, just making it visual. Okay. Sometimes it's one thing to say, good job, honey, but it's another thing to actually have maybe an indicator of progress, right? The reward system can be visual, and I'm sure your children can have creative ways and input to have that. And of course, a small treat doesn't hurt as a reward. Maybe, who knows, visiting a French bakery locally, finding out maybe a French dessert, something, whatever floats your child's boat, and just making that a small treat at the end of the reward. Okay. All right. So when this was studied, okay, by some researchers, it showed that incremental success is what is a key contributor to greater motivation and productivity. So this is something where I really encourage parents to celebrate your kids. And sometimes it's going to feel like, I know sometimes, guys, if I'm honest, sometimes you're like, man, you should be doing this. Oh, you should be doing this, but is it ever a challenge that they're doing all of their subjects in French or most of their subjects in French, right? I think it deserves a celebration and the small wins, the acknowledgement of that, it really matters. I see it make a difference, okay? So by consistently acknowledging your child's efforts, you're going to boost their motivation and reinforce the importance of steady progress. It's a mindset thing, okay? I want your kids to have strong minds. I want your children to be confident. I believe confident children become confident adults. I say that often. And it's important that we pour into that. The start of the school year is a really key time in order to get that started. And I think it's really going to make an impact. I actually look forward to hearing from some of you in June towards the end of the school year because it's going to really make their French learning journey a lot more seamless. Okay. So I just want to encourage you guys. Okay. Those were your three strategies. And I want just to keep encouraging you that the routine, okay, consistency, consistency is everything. It's the bottom line. Focusing on vocab and speaking. Okay. Those strategies I shared, like the exact way to do it. Try it out. All right. Celebrating their progress along the way. That's going to empower your children, not just to thrive in French, because French is it's our vehicle, right? It's your children's vehicle. But there's a whole academic and education around them. So we want them to thrive in all areas of that, right? And education can happen formally in classrooms and it happens outside of classrooms. But strategies are what kind of make them thrive in the different environments they are exposed to or they happen to be a part of. Okay. And these strategies is what's going to boost and give them the tools they need to excel. So once again, it's the start of the school year. You guys are doing amazing by just being on this call. So many of you, and thank you for that. And the whole reminder I will share today is reminder that the whole language learning, the language acquisition learning, it is a marathon. It is a marathon. And it could even be a lifelong marathon. It's not a sprint, right? But I guarantee you that the efforts that you're pouring into your children now, okay, it's going to pay off gains, gains, and gains, okay, in their confidence, their fluency, and a love for French and an appreciation. Like, thank you, mom. Thank you, dad, for putting me in a program, right, of French language learning and it's just gonna last beyond this school year. Okay, so that is that is something. So I want to open the floor for questions. I am also going to share for a lot of parents before today's call. I got some questions about our fall programming, and I want to make sure everyone has those details. But I'll open the floor for questions, and either you can type it in the chat or you are welcome to unmute. Okay.
Hi, good day. My name is Akisha. Thank you so much for having this program here. It's very great. My children are in grade 6 and 2, and my daughter, she started French in grade 1, and it was when COVID hit. So, and I'm a nurse, so I had to stay home with her, and I was able to help a lot during that time. So now I'm finding that it's a little bit basically I'm just asking for like parent resources because I'm finding I'm having to teach myself first, like learn whatever it is that she's doing, and then have to teach it back to her. And it's like I do have like a French dictionary, and then obviously I use Google and stuff a lot, but I'm just not sure if there's any other websites that you would recommend um to for me to use. Like literally right now, I'm not sure if you're aware of like what they're doing in each grade and stuff, but I know my son, it's just the everyday words, like the same thing. So that I really appreciated the suggestions of like the restaurant and getting them to identify everyday uses and using the French terminology for that. But for my daughter, I don't even know. Well, the year just started, so I'm actually not even sure what they're doing in French right now. But it's just if you have any like good websites or a book or something that I can get as a resource, where when I'm helping them with like I guess conjugating and stuff like that, where I can
Yes.
go to.
And your daughter's in what grade right now?
Six.
Wow.
Yeah, she's in grade six, and
And
then
your
my
son?
he's in grade two.
Cool. Okay. So, all right. The first book I will mention, and this is for your grade six mainly. Does she have a Beshechel? Do you know what the Beshechel book is?
A Bishahel.
Yeah.
Ari, do you have a Bishahel book? Do you know what that is? Bishahel? Yeah. No, she doesn't.
Okay. So the Beshechel is the ultimate, it's the gift that keeps on giving. It's the one French book you'll buy and never have to repurchase. Like it's your one-stop shop. So I remember we had to buy our Beshechels in like junior school, like in primary school. So Beshechel, guys, I'm going to um send you. Okay, Beshechel is pretty much like your one-stop grammar book. Uh, it it's it is like every French conjugation. More advanced ones lately have like vocab and stuff, but I'm gonna send you because there's different editions. But what I will do, maybe send me an email, okay? And then I can send you the link to that. Uh,
Okay, sounds good. Thank
yeah,
you.
for my other parents on the call, I have something not all of you would have been in our community, but I did just drop the link in the chat, okay? Yeah, so I'm gonna give me 1 second because I want to make sure that you guys have everything you need, okay, to go. Because what I want to actually give you is I actually have a bonus resource list. If you're in our community, you might have gotten access to it before, but it's one of those you pick and choose what works best for your child. So it is a resource document that has different categories. So it's everything from basics, but then it goes on to grammar. There's different shows and different YouTube links, things around the house. So I have found that very useful. I'm just going to send you guys that link. It's a document. I'm going to put it in this chat. Okay. And that actually has, let me just see if that has it. I think that has good. It has the Beshechel link in it. So I'm going to just put that here for you. For every,
Sorry for this book that you just mentioned. Will it be okay for my brother to use, who's in grade seven?
absolutely. For sure.
Okay.
Yeah. Because guys, the grammar, it is everyone's,
And this link is
yeah. Uh,
attached in the chat.
yeah. So there you go, guys. It's in the chat. Download that resource link. That's if you don't have it, that's kind of maybe your takeaway for having attended live. So well done. Okay. Any other questions? And yeah, the Beshecha link is on there. If you guys are not seeing it, you at least have the name of it. But Beshechel is it's your one-stop shop. It is your conjugation, your French conjugation, uh, book of all books. Book of all books. Okay. Anyone else? Any questions? Like, how was the school year started? Anything specific anyone wanted to ask? We're feeling okay? Perfect. Awesome. Okay, well, I'm happy
Oh,
to, yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
sorry, you mentioned that maybe we should try to implement saying a different word a day or a week, maybe to get their vocabulary going. So is
Yes.
there like specific words that my brother should know, being a grade seven French immersion? Like how easy should the words be? How difficult should the words be?
Yeah.
Like
Good. Like, what a
au
great
toilette,
question.
is that
Good.
too easy for him?
Yeah, too easy. And you know
Okay.
what? Guess what? I don't even want to say it's not worthwhile because maybe if you do see he could use a little refresher on basics, maybe start with the basics. But
Mm-hmm.
what I would say is very important now at the grade 7 level, because I'm just thinking like from a curriculum perspective, what becomes important. I would say get him to work on adjectives. Okay. So
Mm-hmm.
adjectives being how you describe something. I find a lot of our students, they're cool on the basics, but then when it comes to expanding, which is now at the junior high level, junior high and up, what the teachers and his evaluations are looking for, like you got to know how to describe something, how to use adjectives to really beef up your communication, your vocab, both written and spoken. So I would say maybe adjectives, French adjectives could be pretty useful for
Okay.
him because it's going to matter. Yeah,
Okay, thank you.
you're welcome. Where's our IG fam? Are we okay for questions? We're going to wrap, we're going to wind down soon. Perfect. So yeah, guys, make sure you that link I put in the chat, make sure you're clicking it on your computer. Be okay. I will resend for those who did hop on a little bit later. Okay, because once we end the call, that link is ending with the call. Okay, so just once again, that is the link for your bonus resource list. All right. And also want to encourage the parents who wanted to learn more about our fall programming to schedule a session with me. Everyone's child's needs are different. So I actually reserve time where we can have a little bit of a more intimate conversation and chat about your child's needs, what they're looking for, kind of what you want for them, their big goals. And I break down how our reading comprehension and how our programming works to identify and address specifically that. Okay. So that is my link in the chat for those who wanted to continue the conversation. And I will absolutely look forward to chatting with all of you. This was our first workshop for the school year. So just look out for a few more that will be upcoming this fall. And as usual, yes,
Sorry, miss, I have one more question.
yeah, of course.
Is the uh Bicharel book, is that a red um cover page?
Yes. So the
And does it also say
legacy,
12,000 French verbs on, or does it say,
yes,
okay.
because you saw it's an Amazon link, right?
Yeah, I looked it up on Amazon.
Yeah, yeah. The original Becherel, like the OG Becherel, is green,
Okay,
but
yeah. See
this
if
is new
here.
school.
Um, oh, the green one, but it
Yeah.
says Italian though.
So it's like the pocket one, but it's really it's the
There's
grammar,
one that
that's just
um
grammars and all of them. So
okay. The one that I'm looking at has like a few. I don't know if I could turn my camera on and show you.
yeah, please do. And one moment, okay? I'm gonna